The war on Cybertron had finally come to an end. The Decepticons were defeated, Megatron vanished into the cold void of space, and the Autobots, weary and scarred, were left to rebuild the shattered remains of their metallic world. Victory, however, had not brought peace. Something deep within the planet remained unsettled. The spark of Cybertron, the planet's vital essence, was fading. Once radiant and strong, it now flickered like a dying flame. Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots and bearer of the Matrix of Leadership, could feel the pain in his own spark. In the silence of the Temple of Iacon, kneeling before the tomb of the ancient Primes, he whispered, "Sentinel, what are you hiding from me?" No answer came, only the solemn echoes of the sacred hall and the faint, irregular pulse of the Matrix. Then, an anomaly was detected. A forgotten signal, old, encoded in a frequency from the first Cybertronian age, was picked up by the Arc-II's long-range sensors. It came from a forsaken system known as Zarian 7, one long erased from Cybertronian records. Ultra Magnus, cautious as always, recommended ignoring it. But Optimus knew in his core this wasn't coincidence. This was destiny. Gathering a small crew, Bumblebee, Archie, and Wheeljack, Optimus set out on a mission. If there's even the slightest chance to restore Cybertron, I'll follow it, even if it costs me my life. Those were his final words before disappearing into deep space, guided by little more than hope. Upon arrival at Zarian 7, they found a world in ruins, desolate, lifeless, covered in jagged, ancient metal. But the architecture was unmistakably Cybertronian, as if the planet had once been a lost colony. At the heart of a massive crater stood a towering black structure, pulsing with energy, not a building, but something alive. "That's not a structure," Archie said, cautious. "That's a being." Trapped at its center, bound by ancient energy chains, was a prime long forgotten, Salamis, one of the original 13. "You carry the Matrix," Salamis whispered, weakly. "But it does not choose the next leader, it chooses the next sacrifice." Before they could understand, the skies above split open. A Decepticon fleet emerged from hyperspace, led by a figure that made every spark freeze, Nemesis Prime, an exact copy of Optimus. Created by the quintessence from corrupted fragments of his essence, Nemesis was built to destroy the lineage of the Primes and reshape Cybertron through domination. "You think you'll save your world with mercy?" Nemesis mocked. "I will save it through control. And silence will be its salvation." The battle that followed was brutal. Wheeljack was nearly destroyed, Archie left barely functioning, and Bumblebee overwhelmed. Optimus faced his dark twin, a reflection of what he feared he could have become. Every punch landed echoed an internal struggle, a clash not just of metal and sparks, but of ideals. In a final act of desperation, Salamis transferred what remained of his life force into the Matrix, unlocking a hidden truth. Inside it, Optimus was transported into the core realm of space beyond time, where the ancient Primes awaited him, Sentinel, Vector, Prima, and others. "You cannot defeat Nemesis with power alone," Vector Prime spoke. "He is your shadow. You must defeat him by accepting who you are, and what you must do." The truth was clear: sacrifice. Optimus returned from the vision with renewed purpose. Though injured and drained, he stood before Nemesis once more. Not with rage, but with clarity and compassion. "You are not my enemy. You are part of me. But I am more than pain, more than control. I am hope. I am sacrifice." And with those final words, Optimus merged the Matrix with his own spark. The resulting explosion of energy lit up the entire system, pure light, pure truth. Nemesis Prime was torn apart by the wave, erased from existence. The Decepticon fleet disintegrated. And Optimus Prime was gone. When the Autobots awoke, they found Zarian 7 transformed. The once dead planet now pulsed with metallic life. Shards of its core began to drift towards Cybertron, drawn by a new energy, a new heart. The spark of Cybertron had been restored, not through war, but through the sacrifice of its greatest guardian. Bumblebee heard a final message echoing in his mind: "As long as the spark shines, Cybertron will live." Lead them, Bumblebee. Not as a soldier, but as a Prime. Years passed. A new city rose from the ruins of Iacon, glistening with renewed hope. At its center stood a statue of Optimus Prime, arms outstretched, the Matrix embedded in his chest. At the base was engraved, "Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. But true freedom is born of sacrifice." Bumblebee, now called Primebee, led a new age of peace and exploration. Cybertron was reborn, not through conquest or domination, but through the spark of one who gave everything for others. And deep beneath the surface of the planet, a new spark began to glow. Forged not by war, but by hope.